It's the way that it took me forever to actually pick out a TBR for this readathon. Like, I don't even know what I want to read right now. It's just drop after drop after drop.
Damn, that was good. Oh my god, the butter.
Hello book reading friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Melanie, and today I am here with yet another 24-hour readathon. Christmas edition perhaps? I read for 24 hours straight. Christmas edition. Part 3? Apparently, it's the only way for me to push through my TBR, and at this point, I'm just embracing it. If you can't beat him, join him, and that is exactly what's happening today. I am going to attempt to read for 24 hours again, and hopefully knock out around the same amount of books I knocked out last time for my TBR. I haven't really read that much this month. In fact, as I'm filming this, it is December 13th, which means that the readathon is starting midnight tonight. As of today, I have only read 2 books in December, so not that bad, but not as good as I expected this reading month to be. So hopefully this will push me, because do I need to push? Absolutely. If you have yet to subscribe to my channel, don't forget to do so down below for more bookish content. I am constantly uploading videos that I am sure you do not want to miss, and I am also live streaming throughout the week doing my weekly reading sprints. You can also follow me on all of my social medias, which are always linked down below, as well as my Amazon wish list. And yeah, without further ado, if you want to see what I'm going to be reading for this 24-hour readathon for me to break it down, just keep on watching. It's kind of unreal at this point how many times I have switched around my TBR. I had a completely different plan, completely different action plan into how this was gonna go. Have I stuck to that plan? No. Have I changed my TBR again 5 seconds before hitting record? Absolutely. This 24-hour readathon is happening with other booktubers that you may or may not know, like Mind of Molly, The Name's Jaleesa, Editorial Edge, and Books and More with Kristen G, which if you don't follow any of them, I will leave them linked down below in case you want to check their channels out. But let's get into the books that I plan to read. I am going along the lines of what I did last time and taking that same course of action, because the last 24-hour readathon I did was so successful. I managed to read over 1,800 pages. I read 5 books. It was just, I didn't expect to read that much. So I'm even surprised that I could manage to read that much in 24 hours. So the first book I have on my TBR is Saga Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I am super excited to see where the story goes on this one. The cover for this is also stunning. I'm just here for some sci-fi. I've been saying this lately, but I've been kind of vibing with sci-fi, which I typically don't do. So I am genuinely excited to see how the story progresses. Maybe 5-star feels here. I really wouldn't be able to tell you, but I know this one is definitely gonna get read. Very on brand with my 24-hour readathons. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this book because this is a buddy read, so I don't know if it'll entirely be a priority during the 24-hour period, but I do think I will be recurringly reading this throughout the day if I want to switch it up, because this is my current read. Like, I am 130 pages in, if I'm not mistaken. I'm talking about Tower of Dawn, which is also very on brand, because on every readathon I have done, I've included 1 book from the Throne of Glass series. So this is the 6th book in the Throne of Glass series, and this book is kind of different because we don't follow the regular characters that we follow in the other books. In this book, instead, we follow K.L. Westfall, who in the previous books has been the captain of the Royal Guard, and we also follow Nesrin, who is a character that's introduced in the 4th book, and then we also get new characters to this book specifically, but characters that do appear in the novella The Assassin's Blade, like Irene Towers. So I am currently in the midst of this. Like, I have been like tabbing this, and I am honestly loving my journey reading this book. I didn't think I would love this as much as I am because it is K.L. And if you have been here for a while, you know I am not particularly fond of K.L. But I feel the redemption coming with this book. And also, I thought the cover was not gonna be pretty, but it got here, and I'm like, you're kind of a vibe. So this may or may not get read, but I am putting this in here because why not? Another book that I definitely want to read in this 24-hour period is The Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Keigo Higashino. Oh wow, I got it right! Look at me go remembering names and titles. But I am super excited to get to this book. It is magical realism. It is also translated work. So I am all around just excited for this. It's giving me the magical vibes that I feel come from December, from the holiday season, and we follow 3 delinquents after they are locked up in a general store, and they start getting getting correspondence that they start answering to, and soon enough they start realizing that these letters may or may not come from the past. And it's not that long either. I think it's like 300, a little bit over 300 pages. This may or may not be the first book I read overall in the 24 hours. Last readathon, I also read The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I had such a great time. I cried so much, but I just fell in love with the book, fell in love with the writing. I just fell in love with the structure of verse and the fact that I listened to it on audio, which was an experience that I'd never gone through before. Like, it was the first time for me. And so I think I want to keep that theme today as well. Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is another story that I am just so ecstatic to read. Again, written in verse. And after reading The Poet X, I have no doubt I will love this book so much. Also, the book without the dust jacket, like, it's stunning. They really know what they're doing with these covers. So I'm just really excited to be reading another Acevedo book, to be listening to another audiobook and like expanding my journey with audiobooks, which if you know me, I'm not big on audiobooks. And in this book, we have Camino Rios, who lives in the Dominican Republic, and she is awaiting her father's flight when suddenly she sees people crying on the airport, and it is announced that the plane her father was in actually crashed. And soon enough, she will find out that his father was leading a double life, and she actually has a sister who lives in New York City. I just feel like I'm gonna cry with this one too. I know a lot of people preferred Clap When You Land over The Poet X, so I'm excited to see how the story will develop. I'm ready to cry. I'm ready to listen to this audiobook. And thank you so much to Kat for getting this for me, because when this got here, I was just too excited because this was the only Acevedo I was missing. And the fifth book on this TBR was not a book I was planning to read in December. Like, not even in the readathon, not even on December. It wasn't even on the works. It wasn't on my TBR. But I got it a few weeks ago, and I was just like, I need to read this so bad because I need to know how the whole trilogy ends. And I am talking about The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. This is the second installment in the Truly Devious series. I don't know if we'll get alternate timelines the way we did on the first Truly Devious book, because we do follow Stevie Bell, who is invited to attend Ellingham Academy, which is extremely prestigious. It's only for the best of the best. And Stevie, being a true crime lover, she loves Sherlock Holmes, she loves Agatha Christie. She knows there's a cold case surrounding this academy where 80 years in the past, the daughter and wife of the founder actually got kidnapped and murdered. And so she takes it upon herself to not only attend this academy, but to make it her mission to try and solve this mystery. And the first book ended on a cliffhanger, starting from there. The ending was also a little bit confusing, so I'm just hoping that all will be cleared in this book. So I'm ready to read this, and I do feel like I need a good thriller mystery right now. And the way that I've been hyping Truly Devious as of lately, I'm just like, I can't just not read the second book right now. So this is definitely something I'm in the mood for at the moment. So as of now, these 5 books are gonna be my TBR for the 24-hour readathon. I really hope I can get to all of them. I'm not really sure about Tower of Dawn. I may switch it, but as of now, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm sticking to at the moment. So I'll be updating you throughout the day, giving you little updates on the books, mini reviews. All of it is gonna be delivered, okay? Y'all are gonna hear all my thoughts on all of these books as I read. So yeah, at the moment it's 3:37 p.m. It's nowhere near close when the readathon starts, so I'm just gonna wait for it to be closer to midnight. That way I can start recording. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just gonna let future Melanie take it away, I guess, and just let her do her thing, and I'm sure she'll entertain. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Hello everyone, so it just hit 12:03 a.m. I hadn't even noticed it was midnight. I really want to get a video up tomorrow because I didn't upload anything over the weekend, so I'm gonna try and attempt that. I am currently in the midst of making a thumbnail, so hopefully that is happening. Hopefully that's a thing. I think I may just start the 24-hour readathon actually making my thumbnail, work a little bit on that video, and then after I make enough progress to where I feel comfortable, I think I may just pick Saga. This is something quick, something that I'm gonna feel accomplished very quickly. Okay, so ignore my faces, but progress has been made in this hour. I made my thumbnail, so I'm just gonna keep editing this in the morning. So here I go, Saga Volume 2. Hype myself up with this one, and the dogs are here, both of them. They're so cute. finished Saga Volume 2. This was crazy. I also read this so fast. Like, I read this in under an hour, and I just loved this. There was a lot of new dynamics, particularly familiar dynamics, which, if you guys know, is one of my favorite things to read about. We got Marco's parents in this one, and it just added a level of complexity to the story, and it added more tension to the current situation with the landscape, but it also added more context into the past. We also got a little bit more of like an alternate timeline, which I also love to read about. We also got new characters in this, like Gwendolyn, which was mentioned in Saga Volume 1. Like, Gwendolyn is stunning. Like, the horns, the hair, just like everything. I loved this. I feel I loved this even more than the first one. The first one was a little bit more about getting to know this world and the story, but this one was more about background story, current situation, and it's easier to go into this world now, having read, you know, the first volume. Oh my god, there was this one scene, like this one sex scene. I was like, oh, this is, you know, they don't be hiding nothing. I'm giving this a 5-star. It's like the only way. I really need to get the rest of these. So great start. This was honestly a great choice to read Saga first. You know what? I'm happy that this is happening. Now I'm gonna be picking up The Miracles of the Namiya General Store. I've been meaning to read this like ever since it got here, and I'm just excited to be reading this. Alright, so I'm only 20 pages into The Miracles of the Namiya General Store, and I kind of have loose thoughts already. I do not have like anything concrete as of now, and I'm truly not the most qualified person to make this claim because this is my first translated book that I've read, but I will say it reads like translated work. It doesn't feel very flowery. It doesn't feel, the writing doesn't feel complex in a way. It's like very straightforward, very simple. Maybe this story is written the exact same way in its original language, and that's why it was translated like that. But either way, it's very simplistic, which I'm not really used to, so it's kind of like throwing me off. Alright, so the makeup is off. It feels great to have the makeup off. I did a little skincare routine, which felt great. And now it's time to get back into the book. I also switched locations to my dining room table because I know if I stay on that couch, which is hella comfy, I'm just gonna want to sleep, and that does not proceed because I need to finish this book by like 7:30 a.m. So I have like 3 hours. We'll see. I just surpassed page 50 of The Miracle of the Namiya General Store. However, I am dozing off so bad. Like, I don't understand why I'm so tired at this point. I'm literally like nodding my head off at how tired I am, and I've only been like reading for 40 minutes. So I think what I'm gonna do is take an hour-long nap, wake up at 6, and hopefully finish this book at around 8 a.m.
Hello, it's 6 a.m. I slept for around an hour. The dogs are here. Hello. Hello. Now we're gonna keep reading.
I have to go get myself some toast because, you know, when you're hungry and you start getting nauseous, that's me. So I can't really stomach anything right now besides toast. So, damn, that was good. Oh my god, the butter. I need to power through these last 100 pages, okay? I need to finish this book already.
Alright, so a little bit of an update. I am currently on page 146 of The Miracles of the Namiya General Store. So we start seeing a little bit more of the people who are actually sending these letters and who are seeking guidance and advice. And those chapters are my favorite. Like, I am loving the character development that we are getting from these people. And the character that I've gotten to connect the most with is actually Katsuro. He was, I think, on on chapter 2, and he was a musician, and I just absolutely adored his chapter. I think the description was way superior to the one that we got present time. So I am loving those chapters so much. I really wish that characters had a little bit more time to process emotions in order to react. I feel like sometimes things are happening and they react right away, or they like brush things off. I'm loving these like flashback chapters. They are the most solid aspect of this book. We are going so deep into these characters and the way that every storyline and every character are connecting. All right, it is currently 10:28 a.m. and I have just finished The Miracle of the Namiya General Store. I always say The Miracle, but it's The Miracles. I didn't love this as much as I thought I would. It still has a good rating. I'm gonna rate this a 3-star. I think the beginning is very solid and it like has you a little bit hooked because you want to find out more, although it is a little bit telling, and again the characters don't have time to react in a proper manner. Then the middle to me was the most solid part of the book, oddly enough, which was where we get the background into all of these characters and where every storyline starts weaving together. I personally think that is the strongest part of this book. And then towards the end it completely lost me. Like I was bored and I just wanted it to be over. I think the last 50 or so pages got really interesting because again everything started connecting once more in a way that I wasn't expecting. So I really do think that it's a solid book, but again I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. Alright friends, so a little bit of an update into Clap When You Land. I am currently on page 127. I will say though, I am loving Yahaira and Camino. I feel like they are opposite of each other. They are technically what the other should be in regards to societal standards. You have Yahaira who lives in New York and she is very much Dominican. She was raised Dominican and she doesn't feel like a New Yorker most of the time. She is very analytical, she is very factual, she's very logical. She is very guarded with her feelings. She feels that she needs to take care of others instead of herself, and so she pushes those emotions down. She is very selfless in that sense. And then Camino is the entire opposite, where she bears her feelings to the world and she is not afraid to cry and she is not afraid to say how she is feeling, and she is not afraid of being dependent on others, like specifically her tia. Also represents a lot of what Yahaira should be as a New Yorker. She loves Barbie and she's into the American dream and she wants to go to Colombia to study medicine, and she just wants to chase what was never given to her given the circumstances of where she lives in the Dominican Republic. And so it's almost like these two girls, having grown up entirely apart in entirely different circumstances, are yearning for what the other has. Page 195 and it says, DSS, a lot more words, but I barely hear any of them. I have a sister. I have a sister. I have a sister. There is another person besides Tia of my blood in the world. I've talked about this before with writing, but like in general, when authors use the rule of 3 in order to create impact in the reader, in the viewer, it just gets me every single time. The way that Elizabeth Acevedo narrates this just gets to me, and I feel this is where I truly start connecting with the story, and it's once the sisters unite, once Camino knows of Yahaira's existence. So I just finished Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. As you can see, I don't know if you guys can see, the book has been tabbed. It was really a moment. I didn't cry in this book as much as I thought I would cry, which in a way was a little bit disappointing because I was never fully emotionally invested. I did cry that one time that I was talking to you guys and I read you the quote, but besides that, like, I didn't really cry in any other occasion. The ending kind of lost me a little bit. Like, the ending makes so much sense. Like, the story was building up to that point. However, it still kind of like lost me, and then the very last few pages just like tied it in the way that I really wanted it to be tied in, and it was a really beautiful ending. Like, it gave me chills. Now it is time for me to jump into The Vanishing Stair. I think I may just take like a 30-minute nap, and that way I can start this maybe even a little bit earlier than my live stream, but I am excited to go into this. Alright, hello everyone. It's been a few days since the readathon ended. In fact, it's been almost a week since the readathon ended. And I'm gonna give you my final thoughts and wrap up on all of the books that I actually ended up reading in the 24-hour period. I say the word actually because Tower of Dawn did not get read in the slightest. In fact, still, a week later, I have yet to finish Tower of Dawn. So Tower of Dawn will definitely be my focus for the next week. The first one I'm gonna be talking about, which was the first one that I actually picked up, is Saga Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Right as I grabbed this graphic novel and I read the first 4 pages, I said it out loud, 5-star feels. And indeed it was. I ended up rating this a 5 out of 5 stars, which at first I didn't think I would do, but upon getting into the story, I definitely knew what was going to happen. I got everything straight away. It was so much easier to jump into it. It also has a lot of tropes and themes that I like to see in books and literature in general. The first one is familial dynamics. I absolutely love to see that interaction and to see that relationship between characters and how they behave around each other. And more particularly, I like seeing how they got to the point where they are now with that dynamic. So in this volume, we get Marco's parents, who are a focal point in the story, honestly. And I absolutely loved every second of it. I loved getting to know them. It was so much fun. I loved Marco's dad in particular. I think he was definitely one of my standout characters in this volume. And beside Marco's parents, we actually got introduced to a very important character that was constantly mentioned in volume 1 and that I was dying to meet, and that is Gwendolyn. As you guys saw from the update portion, I showed you how Gwendolyn looks. The illustration is stunning. Adding to that, more things that I like. We have dual POVs accompanied by dual timelines. But we follow Marco, his girl, and then their kid with Marco's parents. And then we follow the bounty hunter, the lion cat, and Gwendolyn on the other side. And then of course we have like a bunch of other parties having another POV, but they are not as prominent in the story as they were in the last volume. And we also go back in the past to explain how we got to this point, which was incredibly nice because volume 1 was very vague in regards to that context, in regards to that backstory. So it was really nice to go into this and see a lot of world expansion and a lot of character arcs and dynamics. It was just fantastic. So overall, this definitely stands out a lot more than volume 1. This also ends in a cliffhanger. So if you are looking to get into Saga, make sure that you have volume 2 and 3 because you'll want to start volume 3 right away. And if you have any graphic novel recommendations, leave them down below because I am always looking for recommendations. The next book I read was a little bit of an odd one. I don't even know how to talk about this book properly because I still think to this day, I don't know entirely how I feel about it. And I am talking about The Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Keigo Higashino. And I ended up rating this a 3 out of 5 stars. There's a lot of things that can get lost in translation, so I don't know exactly what it was about this book, but I wasn't really connecting with the writing style of this book. It was very simplistic, very straightforward. There wasn't a lot of description, there wasn't a lot of floweriness, and I think the writing was a really big barrier into how I was connecting with the story and with the characters and with its progression, because although the story was really compelling, there were a lot of times where I was incredibly losing interest, and I took so long reading this, way longer than I truly needed to. If you know me, if you've been here for a while, you know that character dynamics is probably one of my favorite things. And if there is one thing that this book was lacking, it was that character dynamic. Although every single storyline was well plotted and its progression was sensical, I did not feel that connection between characters to make me feel and care for them. It was in fact very difficult to connect to any of them. I really was just kind of bored with the story, and I am so sad to say that because again, I really wanted to give this a 5 out of 5 stars. The people corresponding from the past, their stories were also not the most compelling. There was only one that I think was around page 100, maybe I'm mistaken, but there was only one story about a musician. That was the story that I connected to the most. That was the story that made me feel the most. And here's where I go into one of the things that bugged me a little bit with writing, and it's that the writing started feeling very different as the story progressed. It almost felt like 2 different people were writing. As in, at the beginning of the book, there was virtually no description. And at the end of the book, there was a little bit too much description and not too much dialogue to keep me entertained. So overall, again, conflicting feelings about this book, but overall, one of the things that I enjoyed the most was how every single timeline connected and the way that some of the situations from the past felt so very real. It was just really nice to read about, so it does have a lot of redeeming qualities. The next book I read in this 24-hour period was actually actually Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, and this one I listened to while I read with my eyes. Now, I went into this book very well knowing that a lot of people enjoyed this book a lot more than The Poet X, and I was really excited to go into this because the premise seemed really nice. I knew I was gonna cry while I read this book. As you can see, again, heavily tabbed. I do think Elizabeth Acevedo from now on is like one of my insta-buy authors. Like, I just want to read everything that she puts out. I didn't enjoy this as much as I enjoyed The Poet X, but I still rated it a 4 out of 5 stars, which is an incredible rating. For trigger warnings in this book, we have parental death, grief, parental separation and cheating, sexual assault and harassment, stalking, mention of sex trafficking is in here as well, and then we also have themes of immigration. So in regards to themes and trigger warnings, there are quite a few of them, and if you know anything about me, I like me some hard-hitting contemporaries. That being said, I loved the characters in this book, Yajaira and Camino, and it was so interesting to see that dynamic and to see them progress as characters. There was also a lot of talk in here about being compared to your parents and how although you could have certain qualities that your parents have, you are not the same people. There was this one character that I was so mad at. El Cero was one of the most horrific characters that I've ever read about. The way that I was scared for Camino during the whole story was just thinking about it gives me chills, and it's just the reality of what a lot of women have to go through daily. And it was so heartbreaking to see that happen to her and how she just had to run away from that situation time and time again because she was not respected, because her body was not respected, because her choice was not respected. And again, Elizabeth Acevedo knows how to hit every single spot in each of her stories, and it's just unbelievably amazing. So although I did give it a 4-star, it is still a very high 4-star, and I love the fact that this is being turned into a movie, I think, or a TV. I can't quite remember, but I do know it's getting an adaptation, and I cannot wait to see this on the screen. It'll translate beautifully, and just thinking about it makes me tear up because I do think it has so much potential to be one of the best adaptations that I've seen. So I'm just excited to see how that turns out because this would make for a heartbreaking adaptation. And the last book I read, not necessarily in the 24-hour period, the majority of it I did, but I did finish this after the 24-hour period. But since this was in my TBR, still wanted to talk about it, give you a wrap-up portion, and share my thoughts with all of you. And I am talking about The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. This is the sequel to Truly Devious, and let me tell you, I enjoyed this so much better than Truly Devious. It is insane. My one complaint with Truly Devious was that the book was more plot-driven than it was character-driven. I am not quite on one end of the spectrum more than the other. I'd say I'm right smack in the middle, where I like myself a good mix between a plot-driven story and a character-driven story. I sometimes don't mind when it's either or, but the majority of the time, I like it to be in the middle. And my one complaint was we didn't get enough of that character dynamic. In this book, we start out and the character dynamic is there right away. Nate and Stevie, their dynamic is so incredible. I absolutely loved seeing their interactions and their banter and the way that they just communicate with each other in a very particular way that is so unique to them, but they still understand each other so much. Nate as a character who is very standoffish, you can see that love that he has for Stevie, even if it's not that out there. He knows Stevie through and through, and it was so nice to see that. I honestly wish they'd end up together. I don't know if they do or if they don't, but the chemistry there is far better than Stevie and David. David is just a straight up asshole. I forgave David on the first book. I was like, okay, like he's kind of nice, kind of like the bad boy persona, and I didn't really mind it in the first book. In this book though, David just showed all of us how horrible of a person he can be, and I was not there for any of it. The chemistry between him and Stevie is not there. So I don't know why Maureen Johnson is trying to push us into that direction. I don't like it. I don't think anybody likes it. And then starting from like page 150 all the way to the end of the book is when that plot really starts kicking in. It's so strong. It progresses so nicely from where book 1 ended. And let me tell you, the way I was screeching during a live stream when I was ending this book, because my theory from book 1 was straight on, it was correct, and they made me doubt myself. They made me scrap that theory altogether, only to tell me I was right all along. This book was wild. The ending of this book is not fair at all. It's just drop after drop after drop. All of the foreshadowings are there, and I absolutely love it when authors do that, regardless of the genre they are writing. I love the old saying that goes, if you're gonna put a gun on stage, make it go off at one point of the play. That is exactly what Maureen Johnson did with this book, and I will never get over The Vanishing Stair. This is a 5 out of 5 stars. And when a book is 5 stars, it's very hard to top. It's very hard to match. I definitely think, like most people, this will be my favorite of the series. Like 10 out of 10 to everything. And those are all the books that I have for you guys today. Those are all the books that I read in the 24-hour period. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments below if you participated, what did you read? Or if you didn't participate in the readathon, let me know what you are currently reading, because I know we are all trying to squeeze in all the books before 2020 is over. If you reached the end of the video, make sure to comment down below some magnifying glasses in honor of The Vanishing Stair, which was definitely the highlight of the 24 hours. Don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't already. I am constantly uploading videos that I am sure you do not want to miss, as well as live streaming throughout the week. You can also follow me on all of my social medias, which are always linked down below, as well as my Amazon wishlist. And my Instagram is now @meliniki. It is my only Instagram, so you make sure to follow me over there. And yeah, that is it for today. I love all of you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.